Hey, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, it's that time of the evening again, and the sun has actually gone down, so I'm a little late getting out here, but had a busy day this morning, and we have gradually getting things done on the office. So we have the electricians in at the moment. They've taken it as far as they can, and we're almost ready for having the power turned on. We got all of the materials. We got some more furniture for the office, but that's not what this time of the night is for. This time of the night is for enjoying the peace of where we live. And just a little juggle there. We are having a little alteration done to our mango tree, and the reason for this is that the electrical cable, which now takes us direct down to the creek, and I suggest that this is a time when all you people who love trees should move on to the next video, and all of you electricians who like to do things according to OSHA or the UK rules and standards should also move on as well, because you won't be able to sleep tonight. There's our cable, and it takes us down to the creek, and it goes from one tree to another. And welcome to the Philippines. Now we've got a lot that's been taken down here, a lot of the tree. Not done in any great beautiful fashion. As you can see, it's all pretty crude and basic, so we'll have to get all of this cleaned up now. As usual, sometimes when work is done, get the job done and move out and leave the mess for later. Sometimes I think I should go out and buy one of those small chainsaws, but I'm not going to do that, and we will get this cleaned up. Meantime, I guess the goat is enjoying things. This is not a friendly goat, and she is all tied up. Let me help you. Oh dear. There we go. And went from one mess to another. Okay, so there we are. There's our moment of peace up there on the hill, on the other hill. Oh boy! Last night we looked out on those far hills there, and we watched a fire rage. You can see where the hill is very dark, that whole hill burned. Quite spectacular. The flames must have been 20 feet high. They look tall from here, and look how far it is away. So it must have been pretty hot up there. And so this is my usual place to come over and sit, down by Lena's house and by Talia's house. There's the firewood all lined up to dry. For the life of me, I don't know what it is about this time of the night, but a peace comes over the land. I'm going to sit down here. And probably because, I'm looking over there, there's a little smudge of dark smoke. Probably there's more fires on the other side of that ridge that we can't see. But I can't even hear, everything is so still right now that I can't even hear the windmill that Rado has put up there, and I can usually hear that flapping around, and now I can't. But then my hearing is challenged after so many years playing in amplified bands. I always think that Julio, that's his little house down there, it's a tiny house. Ah, look, there's Talia, a strong woman, and her daughter, Nizel. Hi, Nizel. Hi, Talia. Hello. And they're gathering wood, which will all be burned. It'll be chopped and burned. There's Dodong. Look at that kid. You would have to look around with a magnifying glass to find an ounce of fat on that boy. Isn't that what kids used to look like? Because they ran around so much, never got the chance to be fat. I'm saying that Julio's life seems to be a stereotypical simple life. That really is a simple life. They have that tiny little house down there. They have an extended porch. They have a kitchen that they built on the back and a lean-to on the outside there to cover in their motorcycle. And they live right next to the road. He moved to that little place there and started to build a tiny rustic house, half the size of what you're looking at now, because I think that they were living with in-laws, and it had become a little difficult. So they asked, could they build a small house there, and Nanai was agreeable that they could. I think that things have improved now, and relations are good with the in-laws, but it took moving out. So there he is, and sometimes when he is part of the Superman team doing building, sometimes they don't always enjoy working out on other projects. So not sure whether he is working away at the moment with the Superman team or whether he's here. I think that he decided that he would stay here. My observation with Filipino workers is that there's a very rigid boundary of acceptable behavior and treatment, and if they feel that that boundary has been crossed, then they're out of there. They won't make a confrontation. They won't confront. What they will do is say that they have a cold, or their shoulder's hurting, or they've sprained some muscle or something, and they'll get out of there and they'll find something else to do. But then when I pass, I see him planting. He has quite an extensive planting of garden. They're also up behind the house from where we are now. There's all kinds of plowed field with plants that he has done. He's laid crops, and he's a very industrious, hard-working man, a little bit like Rado, who's down there. And now Look what a pastoral scene that is. And reflecting that when I came home, today I went to Taliban and I did a lot of shopping. I did some, wanted to get an office chair for the desk. Managed to find one that was quite nice and not too expensive. Brought that back, and I brought cushions for the sectional couch that we have for the office. And did all of those things, and also, let me see, I got some further medication, not drugs, but I did get some other suggestions that had been stuff that had been suggested by the urologist that we went to see as part of our in vitro program, and he suggested. It turned out that one of the nutrients additions that we already had, and I was already taking, but the other one was new. So I have yet another pill to take. Not quite sure what vitamin it was, but one that he'd suggested that I take for a month. So that's happening right now. Now, when I came home, I had a wonderful surprise, but it's bittersweet because I wasn't able to video it. Out on our little porch, where you can sit on that small wall that surrounds our little front porch, were a group of kids that had walked from the secret village in the mountains, and that is the one. That's the village of Lovely and her sisters, and they had all walked over, and they were on a school project that I think that they were collecting carabao poop. Well, they came up to the house to see us, and they were with Beth when I arrived, and that was a wonderful surprise. Now, because of restrictions now that are being imposed, we was not able to video that, and yet it was a heartwarming scene. I think 6 or possibly 8 little girls had arrived, and Beth was entertaining them on the porch, and she had given them all a chocolate lollipop, and they were all very happy, and I got a warm reception, and they it was nice that they were as happy to see me as I was to see them, but we're not allowed to show that. So it's another one of those situations, isn't it, now that we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So now we're not allowed to see these wonderful situations of ordinary life in the Philippines, that a group of kids would come over and see us, and we're not allowed to show it. Well, what an offensive thing it would be if you were to see the happy smiling faces of a load of little kids that had come over. It's very sad in my mind. Very sad indeed. So I'm looking at the clouds because it's very sparse on the clouds, so no great painting from Mr. Da Vinci tonight. Nevertheless, it's beautiful, but not quite as spectacular as some of the other nights that I've been out here. So tomorrow we will I will be on my Sunday driving job, and I'll be getting a load of the kids into the church, and we won't be able to see that either. How sad things can be. And it must be obvious now that Beth and I have become a special target and a special case, and so we're being penalized in ways which others are still continuing happily on their way to show all kinds of stuff which we are not allowed to show. Eventually, the pendulum will swing and it will come back again. And will we be any the worse for it? We won't be any better for it, I doubt. My feeling is, with some of the shootings in America and now one in New Zealand, and how one person, and we are experiencing this too, one person can take an evil thought and take it to an extreme and bring about such incredible destruction and heartache for a number of people by one act, and then taking his own life to go to hell, I would have thought. And so you could say that there is a downward spiral that can be seen to be in action. A downward spiral, think of that. That in some ways, some sections of humanity are going ever lower, ever more to be identified with matter, who are becoming ever more less human, less spiritual, less kind, less generous, less hopeful. And they are becoming more like animals. No, animals don't usually kill and don't usually degrade or embarrass. They don't do stuff like that. And yet there's another spiral that is also in action. And that spiral is that we're becoming more aware of just how evil this can be. And people are becoming more and more good. Oh, I've got this dog who is trying to be all friendly and pushing, and I'm not able to handle it right now while I'm talking and thinking. And so there are two spirals that are in action, that are in play. One is that part of the human race are becoming ever more base, and the rest of the human race are becoming more aware. They're becoming kinder, they're becoming more righteous, not self-righteous, big difference. There are whole groups who are against slavery. They are bringing it, they are working tirelessly to make the rest of us and the lawmakers aware of slavery, of child abuse, of just general awareness of how we can improve and be better people, be better humans. So the two spirals are in play at the same time, and the separation, the divide is so great. We can only hope that the upward spiral will take us ever faster and up, and that we will be able to, at some point, to influence the downward spiral. Hope you understand that from the confusion of my of my evening mind. I think that we're getting better in spite of all of the evidence that the media would have us believe that we're getting worse. Yes, there's a lot that's getting worse, but there's a lot that is really, really getting closer to God, getting closer to the Creator. However you choose to describe that state of being which is beyond evil. So I'm getting eaten alive now by mosquitoes now. I'm going to go in. Thanks for listening to me meander. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. I hope by this time they have resolved this silly issue about comments. Bye for now.